Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on InRangeTV. Today we are out doing another mud test, a sort of much requested one on the Enfield. Now, we are particularly using an Ishapore 2A1 Enfield in 762 NATO today. This is exactly the same mechanism as the Ishapore Enfields and the British Enfields in 303, but we're not interested in messing around with rim lock at the same time. And honestly, this is a little bit less valuable of a gun to get covered in horrible, disgusting mud. So, I have a 10-round magazine here. Going to go ahead and fire 5 rounds just to confirm that the gun is in fact working. Then we're going to cover it in mud and see how long it takes to stop working. All right. Now, just so that we have a full magazine to work with before I get it covered in mud, go ahead and top it off from a stripper clip. And safety engaged. You ready for this? The mud will actually cool down the rifle after those 5 rounds of fire. Should I get it on the striker? Sure. All right. I think that's probably going to kill it. That kind of fell off. We'll see. Yeah. Ooh, that all kind of fell off. That's not good. There you go. That's better. Wow. A lot of that fell off. Come on. Let's get with the program here.
Well, if it falls off, that means it does not very clean. That's not a bad thing.
All right. Well,
all right.
Ready?
Yep.
We always know the first round's going to go. This already doesn't want to open. So the round fired. You can see the brass trying to come out, but I think what's happened here is this track on the side of the rifle that the bolt head runs in is, of course, completely full of mud. And,
well, that's interesting. I didn't think of that. Look at that. It is completely full.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised that the striker dropped on the first round.
Wow.
I was kind of expecting there to be enough mud to prevent the striker from falling all the way.
Give it a good yank. If you can't get it, we'll give it water, and after that, we'll give up.
I could butt stroke the thing.
You like the...
I don't want to break the gun.
Do it at 90 degrees. Don't do it too fiercely.
No.
No.
That's
all right.
Ain't going nowhere.
Let's go ahead and try to do some water on it.
Okay.
So we would say it fired 1 round and then it died.
This is almost worse than the Garand in that we can't... The Garand, we could at least get that one case out.
Yeah, that's true. That rail is interesting. I think that's what you're dealing with, like you said.
All right, see if that helps.
You know, this is another example or a thing you could mention that maybe caulk on close isn't always advantageous.
Nonsense.
Caulk on open would help with the primary extraction of this cartridge right now, would it not?
Maybe.
There you go.
Ah, all right. So the water has caused a little bit of mud to leak down into the magazine. So we got a little bit of gunk on the cartridges. I'll see if it'll chamber one.
Nope.
Not that one.
Got it.
That one's in and locked. All right, so it will now fire. It's gritty and rough because we've filled it with water. You want me to try remudding it?
I guess we should give it one more try.
All right. So, for the record, all it took to get running was a nice, thorough cleaning in water.
Well, that's better than some guns we've dealt with, which that actually made things worse.
That's true.
So in this instance, I would say swishing it with water on the Enfield would have made a difference.
I don't think this side really matters, but we'll do it anyway.
No, but I think that rail, that guide rail as you're talking about, was the culprit.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we didn't really get any in there this time.
Well, that's the
mud all slipped
idiosyncrasy
off.
of how mud flows. Give it a try. Let's see.
I think the safety's far enough forward to fire.
You have to get the mud out of the way of the safety to disengage the safety.
All right, ready?
Yep.
That's what I was expecting to happen the first time. We got enough mud in the striker that it won't drop far enough to detonate the cartridge. See if that did it. All right, now, there's something else going on here because it also doesn't want to open. Something is getting in the way of it cocking.
I know I used the words primary extraction earlier in regards to cock on close versus cock on open, but do you think that that's at play here?
No, I don't think that's the issue.
Okay.
Primary extraction is important if the chamber is sticky.
I agree.
I don't think what we are seeing here is a problem with the chamber sticking, or else we would have also seen it when the rifle was clean. I think what we have going on here is mud in the camming surfaces where it's trying to recock. In fact, that's something I can try, is I can see if I can manually cock the striker. But if I can cock this, then there's that much less stuff that it has to do when I open the bolt. I realize it's a cock on close gun.
I understand what you're trying to do. By cocking it now, you would be relieving some of the pressure on the bolt in terms of getting it to extract the cartridge.
However, there's something stuck under there in the sear surfaces or something, because I can't pull it back far enough. It won't actually hit the lock open.
What if I run the bolt while you pull it? What if I pull on this while you try to, don't force it, but just pull?
No.
I got it.
Oh.
Oh, look at that.
That out. Is it actually cocked?
No.
All right, I'm going to hit it with water again.
Okay.
I think that's the only thing that will help it at this point.
So you don't think cock on open versus close would have any play on this? Maybe not primary extraction, but just in general of functionality.
No, I don't think so. I think we could, in theory, try this with a couple of different Mausers, like a German Mauser and a Swedish Mauser, but I don't think cock on open is going to be a
the Car 98
factor.
did better than this.
What's that?
The Car 98 did better than this.
Right, the question is we could then do a Swedish Mauser,
which is cock on close, and that would be a worthwhile test. Because we do have one cock on open and one cock on close here in the repertoire of mud videos.
Right.
Gosh, it looks clean now, practically. Still doesn't want to open?
Water gets the mud off the outside, doesn't get it off the inside.
That's one of the things we hear from people all the time. They say, well, swish it in water, but sometimes we have found that water has actually made things worse by introducing mud into places that it didn't have it in the first place.
Right. So, by the way, I'm resting the muzzle here right now, which is not really an ideal practice, but this is a fired round in the chamber, so... This thing's done.
Okay.
That's over. All right. There was a reason that everybody in World War I came up with cloth or metal dust covers to cover up rifles and keep them out of this sort of filth. The thing is, part of the reason that rear locking lugs like the Enfields are often chosen is because, in theory, they keep mud out of the locking recesses. And I think that may well be true here. However, the SMLE design leaves this open rail on the side, and clearly there's something, well, obviously we have this wide open striker. That's necessary to give you a way to actually manually recock it should you have a dud round, but it's a liability in a situation like this. I will continue to say that I think I would take a 1917 Enfield or a pattern 1914 Enfield before I'd take an SMLE.
So while cleaning the gun, I pulled the magazine out and came to realize, oh, the magazine's done. This isn't feeding anymore. As you can see, the cartridges are not up against the feed lips. The follower is jammed up in whatever dirt and debris has gotten in here. And this is something we've seen at the 2-Gun Action Challenge match with a bunch of Enfields in which some kind of sand or dirt, and you can see there's dirt in there from the mud test. Once that gets into this particular magazine, it doesn't work. In fact, look at that. Cartridges are just, as you can see, they're kind of just kind of loose. There we go. There's one of them. Those ones are not loose, though. They don't want to come out at all. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that. Now we're sort of feeding. Anyways, and nose down. So this is a kind of a common problem with the Enfield magazine in general. We've seen it happen to Ian at the 2-gun match. We've seen it happen to other people at the 2-gun match. Once these guns get into serious dirt and filth, whether it's dust or mud, these magazines are a big culprit of malfunctions in the Enfield action. And here we are. This would have happened to us as well. Even if we could have cycled the bolt, the gun just wouldn't have fed.
If you guys like this sort of content, please do consider checking out the InRangeTV page on Patreon. It is support from viewers like you that makes it entirely possible for us to do horrible things to innocent rifles like this. If you can't support us financially, we totally understand, but we would certainly very much appreciate you sharing the channel with anyone you know who you think would also appreciate it. Since we are completely demonetized and viewer supported, we're dependent on you to share the content because YouTube's algorithms are not going to do it for us. Thanks for watching.